This is Don't Panic, episode number 354, recorded January 9th, 2023. Hello, everybody. Welcome to this episode of Don't Panic, the technology podcast on gadgets, the internet, and of course, we couldn't do it without you. I'm Sean Jennings, joined by two guys who are just happy it's a new year. Colby Rabidou and Dan Miller. Good evening, gentlemen. Well, happy 2023.
Thanks, Sean.
Yeah, happy 2023. What was the Jennings New Year's celebration like this year?
Oh, Dan, I'm so glad you asked. I did the rare thing of being in my bed under the blankets. I watched the college football playoff game where it ended literally at midnight. Like, the final play happened, like, at midnight as the time was turning. And it was an exciting conclusion to the game at midnight because the kicker kicked and he missed, and they didn't go to the playoffs in the college game.
Are you talking about football, or is this an analogy for Congress? I can't quite tell.
Oh, and he's got him. And he's got him. No. This was one of the college football playoff games. Yes, and to win the game and take him to the championship, he kicked it and went wide off. So right at midnight. So that was, I guess, my New Year's. No, I don't. I am holiday Grinch when it comes to certain holidays, and New Year's is definitely one of them. Bogus holiday.
Nice.
Did you see that flow chart that was like the New Year's Eve flow chart, and the only path that led you to a good outcome was, what did you do on New Year's? Absolutely nothing. What were your expectations? Very low. Then it's like, okay, great, you had a good New Year's, but anything else is like, if you did anything for New Year's and had high expectations, it's like not gonna be fun. And that's been my experience too. Like, I don't know what it is about New Year's Eve. With the exception, Sean, of that party that you threw. There are lots of great stories that came out of that.
That's exactly what I was thinking.
Yeah.
Oh, and Colby threw some great ones back in his day as well.
Oh, that's right. Actually, you know what?
Back in the day.
I think the thing that spreadsheet was missing is if your New Year's Eve is do nothing or go to a friend's house, I think those are going to be good.
The small party.
Yeah, anything that's like, oh, you got to go to the so-and-so bar. It's like, nope, that's not doing that. Not going to go see fireworks. Not going to sit outside in the freezing cold with a trillion other people.
I think the big trick is it hits midnight, and then by like 12:20, you're getting ready for bed. Like, doesn't matter where you are, as long as that's your plan. I don't think the problem is getting to midnight. That's the fun part. The problem is if you're still going at 2 or 4 a.m., you've done it wrong. And I say that as an old man.
We didn't make it to midnight this year because we were jet lagged on East Coast time, so we gave up at about 10:30.
Well, and that's the other thing. It's like, what, is there going to be a surprise at midnight? Like, you know, what's going to happen I haven't seen before? It's like, surprise.
The only exciting one was Y2K. You stay up and look around as all the lights going to turn off. Yeah.
Bring it back. I like that. I need some suspense because otherwise... Well, you guys know I did this at some of our parties. My father is a New Year's baby. He was born, and so it's our family tradition to call him at midnight and wish him a happy birthday. And now I am officially so old, I text him at 6 p.m. and say, wishing you a happy birthday, but we'll both be asleep. So God bless you.
Well, it's midnight in the UK at 6 p.m., right? So
yeah, it is absolutely close enough.
Actually, UTC, the one true time zone. You're just giving him an international... birthday.
It's what he's always wanted. Well, that's good. Dan, did Santa bring you anything good for Christmas?
You know, it's this is also getting old, but I received 3 Christmas presents that are very practical and great. One of them, my mom got me a coffee mug warmer, which I've always wanted. Very practical. I use it every day. It's great. Also, new merino wool socks, which also sounds very boring. And then Lena got me it's not behind me, but a clever contraption that allows you to bundle your skis and your poles together and then put it over your shoulder, which makes everything so much easier. We went skiing for the first time this season yesterday, and I did not know what I was missing. It becomes so much easier to carry everything when it has a strap. Then it's like, okay, I'm going to like hook the skis together and put these over my shoulder, and then I'm going to like do this squat with 80 pounds of weight on my back and pick up the poles and come up. Also, it's icy and I'm wearing these ski boots. Like, no. Just the strap. It's amazing. All those things probably cost under $100 total. And I don't know. I think I will remember this Christmas because of these items. So that's what I've been reflecting on. Nice. How about you, Sean?
What I've heard, Dan, is the theme this year is Dan is cold.
That's true.
That's the theme of this year's gifts is Dan is cold, and we got to help this guy out.
Dan is cold, and Dan is lazy, maybe a little bit.
He's spending too much time out in the snow.
Dan is old, maybe, because I can't do the squats and the ski boots on the ice anymore.
There you go. You're getting that old people cold hands, cold feet thing. Oh no, What has the West Coast done to you, Dan?
Oh my God, we got out. We get to the top of the mountain, and it's beautiful. It's snowing. There's snow everywhere, but it is barely snowing. You drive not even 5 minutes down the road, it's raining. We're like right at the cusp. It's like 31 degrees out, and we pull in, and someone else just pulled in next to us, and they get out of their car, and these two kids, like, I don't know, 20-somethings, and they're like, oh my God, it's so cold. And then the other guy's like, oh, it's the wind, man. It kills you. I was like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, this is a light breeze, maybe, and it literally couldn't be any warmer and still be snowing. This is literally the warmest it could possibly be and still do the activity that you're doing right now. And you're complaining that it's cold. Like, these people have lived on the West Coast their entire lives. There's no way they've ever gone anywhere else. So I hope to never be that person.
Yeah, they should definitely stick to surfing. Probably much more their sport.
You're skiing. What did you expect would happen? This is literally the best possible outcome for you, actually. Yeah.
Well, wonderful. No, Dan, I did not get a single gift. So, not one.
Nothing?
I was naughty this year. No, too old. I'm an old man now.
Not a smart home gadget, not a fold-out laptop with 3 screens built into it.
No, I don't think anyone who buys me gifts would even know where to find such a thing. So, no, I got nothing, but that's okay. I'm good with that. I do have to ask, just pivoting wildly, Colby, what are you drinking? It looks fantastic.
World's. Oh,
it's not centered, so we're trying to Wolfler Dry Rosé Cider. Very nice.
Wow.
It looks good. The can caught my eye. You are muted, Mr. Colby.
Uh-oh. I said so much good stuff that the world will never hear. It's good. It's pretty dry, but not too dry. I like it. Or it's dry, but it's not tart.
Okay. Sounds refreshing.
Yeah. It's pretty good. It's like 6.9%. It's a pretty sturdy cider. But gets the job done.
Carbonation in there? Or?
Oh, yeah, for sure. It's a little fizzy.
Keeping it light.
Made from New York State apples. Wild.
Look at them apples.
Where's it made? Oh, it's bottled in New York State. I guess that makes sense.
It's a good spot.
Yes, sir.
What else is going on?
I got a new. Did we talk about this last week? I got an Apple Watch for Christmas. Finally.
We did not.
Finally upgraded. Yeah.
Nice.
It's checking my blood oxygen as we speak.
Now, you weren't still? What were you upgrading from?
The Series 3.
You were still on the 3. Oh my goodness. 3 to 8. What a jump.
Yeah, it's quite a change. The screen is so big in comparison. I like the always on, I think, mostly. I don't like. Now, I don't know when this changed, but on the Series 3, when you're in sleep mode or something, the way, like when you have your sleep focus on and your watch goes into sleep mode, on the Series 3, the way you unlocked it was you like spun the dial a bunch and it unlocked. But on this one, you have to hold down the crown. And it's so much harder to do that. It's like you have to hold it down for a really long time.
Yeah.
Which, like, I guess I see why you have to hold it down for a long time, but I wish I could just spin the crown. I thought that was fine.
I thought that was a watch OS change, or because I also upgraded, but I was attributing it to a watch OS change, but maybe I'm misremembering.
It could maybe there were a bunch of things on the Series 3 that didn't, like, there were a bunch of things that never changed. That like Laura had a newer watch, like I don't know, she has like one of the newer SE ones, but like all the buttons got round and stuff, and that just never happened on my Series 3.
Yeah,
so I don't know if they stopped. Version. They might have stopped doing updates. I don't quite remember.
It was if it wasn't updated, it was the most recent one from like this fall.
Oh, that could
I also find that really annoying because I had a trick, which was I would roll my finger along the crown because you had to spin it quite a bit, and I wasn't going to flick like this. I would do a swoosh motion.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I liked it a lot better. That every time I go to bed, my routine was that I would go to bed with the lights like dimmed almost all the way off, and then when I'm ready to pass out, I would like, fire up my wrist computer and do the my home shortcut thingy to turn off all the lights. I still do that, but it's so much harder. Like when I'm falling asleep, it's so hard to press the button for that long. It's so difficult. I don't know, man. It's hard.
I agree.
Yeah. The struggle is real.
But still good on the new watch. So that's excellent. Like is that the same band you had before? That's nice. I like that.
No, this is the new band too. I have one of it's like the magnety one, but leather. Oh, am I not holding it in the right place?
No, you're good. No, it looks great.
Yeah.
I didn't know they made those.
Yeah. It's like, it doesn't have a clasp. It's just, the whole thing is a magnet. Magnets. Science rules.
Awesome. Very cool. Let's see. What else is going on?
I'm trying to think of technology thing that happened in the last 2 months. I did a lot of traveling, and I picked the Flighty app, but Colby had already picked it. That was, I think, the last episode I was on.
Yeah.
I used the Flighty app.
November 7th, by the way.
Yeah.
It's about a little bit.
Sorry.
No. Hey, listen. The fans love you, okay? But they also think Colby doesn't talk enough when you and I are on the show. So I think it was a nice change of pace.
Interesting. Did we run like a focus group or something?
I will say, honestly, I never get feedback from anyone on the show. The few people I know who actually listen in, the only 2 pieces of feedback I've gotten is, I look fat on camera, and yes, people have said that to me. But ignoring that, they say Colby does not talk enough. I swear to God, that is the one consistent piece of feedback I always get is Colby. We want to hear more Colby. And I think part of that is, Dan, you and I have very aggressive on mic personality. I don't think it's Colby being shy. I think you and I just jump in all the time, and Colby's just listening, which is fine.
Listening politely.
That's why when it's just me and Colby, or it was just you and me, Dan, or just the 2 of you, it's a different type of show, so it was interesting for a couple months. We got to learn so much about Colby. People didn't even know he was on the show. It was great.
It's true. The last show we did was fun because I didn't have a charger. So 45 minutes in, I got the warning. I was like, Sean, My computer's gonna die, and I can't charge it. So we gotta cruise.
I think the final runtime was like 43 minutes.
The shortest episode of Don't Panic ever.
That reminds me, Colby, of your phone that had the broken power button in college. Do you remember this?
Right. That if it shut off, I couldn't turn it back on.
And it added a whole new level of urgency to any sort of evening activity. Yeah. Like, people would freak out, oh, my phone's going to die, I'm going to miss text messages. Colby's phone was literally about to die.
If you go to bed, you might never wake up. I feel like there must be a horror movie that is the plot of. I think that was my iPhone 3G.
Wow.
But also my first iPhone. And also the phone that frenemy of the show, Colin Turkle, purchased the I Am T-Pain app. On like the second day of college, and promised me that he was going to reimburse me the $3. He never did. To this day.
Colby, hey, listen, you can talk about that, but remember, we had minutes of fun playing that before we got bored with it immediately. Yeah. I think that was when we switched over to the app. You pushed a button and it made a fart sound. I mean, this was the early days of the App Store, remember? So
sure, yeah.
You know, when that made your phone look like a lighter was like $80. It was a weird time.
Yes, it was. T-Pain.
God bless him.
Right.
Did I talk on the show? I'm thinking about my last 2 months. Did I talk on the show about the Steam Deck? Did we talk about that at all?
No.
I got a Steam Deck. It was one of those things, I ordered it like a year ago because I was traveling, and I was like, you know what I have a lot of are computer games that I wish I could play while I'm stuck on these planes. What I don't have a lot of are Nintendo Switch games I want to play on this plane, sadly. And so I placed an order. I was like, maybe I'll get one eventually. And then I did get one. And it is massive. It's just a huge thing to hold in your hand. But it does work really well. And the cool thing is, for a thing that you use on planes, like right now the Steam winter sale is happening, you can buy these like old games that, you know, maybe you wouldn't be that interested in playing today normally, but they work great on the handheld thing that lets the battery run for a long time if you just play like an 8-year-old game on it, and you bought it for $2 on the Steam sale. So yeah, I used that for 2 months pretty regularly, and it worked great. And it's amazing. It runs Windows games, no problem. It's, yeah.
This is a portable thing?
Yes. It's like, you know, it's like probably pick up your keyboard. It's about like, I don't know how big your keyboard is, but like it's about the size of like a laptop keyboard.
Sure.
Yeah, it's a Nintendo Switch on steroids.
Yeah. You look at the photos, you're like, oh, cool, it's like a Switch size. It's like, no. It looks like a Switch visually, but it is like 3 times bigger.
It's a Switch that runs Windows games, so think about that.
Yeah. But, like, it's kind of incredible that you can do that. And the save syncing thing works super well, so you can go back to the computer and pick up the game, and in every case so far, it's worked well for me. But where it really shines is playing, like, a, you know, Civilization 4 or something, or, like, old The Sims, where it can just go for 8 hours because the game is so old.
Right. That's cool.
And it's just runs Linux, so you can install anything you want on it. So another cool thing you can do, close your ears, Nintendo legal team that might be listening, is install any emulator, PlayStation, Super Nintendo, GameCube, Xbox, and play all those old games on the go, which is pretty cool.
Have you hooked Smash up on it yet?
I did, but the controls are not the same, and it's a little bit laggy, so I it's mostly for novelty.
Well, I was going to mention to you, did you see the, I think it was today or yesterday, it was going around, the new Joy-Cons for the Nintendo Switch that emulate the GameCube.
What?
No.
I gotta. All right, let me put it. I'll put it in the Riverside chat here. As soon as I saw this, I was like, I almost put in the rundown because I'm like, Dan is gonna go nuts for this thing. But basically, it's a special Joy-Con set that it's designed to look exactly like the old purple GameCube controllers. And supposedly they're very nicely made. So
Ew.
Sold out.
yeah, this was all over the internet.
Damn, I missed it.
Wow.
That does look cool, though. Here's the GameCube controller is very comfortable. It's like it's kind of deep. It's got like the deep grip on the side. The buttons, like the A button is bigger than all the other buttons, and that's the button you usually use. And the B button that you don't usually use is smaller than all the buttons. It's like, why are all the buttons now the same size? Because in every game there is a button. Sometimes it's the one on the bottom on PlayStation. On Nintendo games, I've noticed it's the one to the left. That's the primary button you usually use. Why is that button not bigger? I don't understand. How are we like standardized on this triangular or, I guess, diamond-shaped thing?
I don't know. I like that you can put it on the sides of your Switch. It looks really dope with the Switch.
There's something really nice looking about it. I mean, it looks stupid, but it looks good stupid.
Here's the other thing. I also brought my Switch. I would use it a little bit, and it's very uncomfortable to play for 6 hours on a plane ride because you're holding like a piece of plywood, basically. I think you should be able to get Joy-Cons that are more ergonomic.
Yeah, the company that came out with this, they make a bunch of different Joy-Cons. These are really cool, transparent, where you can see the microchips and stuff underneath it.
When is transparency going to come back? We had the return of bell bottoms. You know, are we 5-10 years out from transparent electronics coming back?
I hope so. I think that would be a great trend to bring back. The problem is phones are all in cases, so you don't see it. Everything wants to be metal, and I just don't know if people are going back to plastic. Like what device that you have would you want to be clear? Controllers, like the accessories, maybe, but
video game consoles.
That'd be cool.
That would be cool. I mean, you could do the famous 30 Rock clear dishwasher.
Sure.
Still a great idea.
Yes.
Still a great idea.
Printers.
That's a great one.
It would probably get covered in ink, though.
But that's part of it, right? That's part of the art.
Is there a lot of
true.
splatter inside a printer?
Well, we've seen car concepts where they put the e-ink on the outside of the car to change colors. They just make the clear car.
That would be scary. Because probably these cars are a lot less substantial than you think they are for, energy efficiency and everything.
Right.
Yeah, people don't need to see inside my car.
No. That, although, it might help people be tidier.
But also might help thieves get good stuff.
It would make walking around the parking lot way more interesting.
That's true.
Yeah. That's a good question. Wi-Fi routers? Give me a clear Wi-Fi router.
Sure.
Very cool.
Throw it out there. TVs?
Well, I think I don't know how often
Well, sometimes we have the TV floated in the middle of the room.
Okay.
And so the back of the TV is just a giant black expanse, which it could be worse. It is like the LG super thin thing, so it's actually kind of nice that you can appreciate that. But you could do a lot with that space.
Dan, I think you're missing a prime opportunity, though. I think you got to get a second identical TV, strap it to the back, and so you have 360 TV. Get an HDMI splitter, put the same thing on both. You'll never miss a moment.
A new definition of simulcast.
Yes. The whole room television from Dan Miller. I like it. Thing sells itself.
Wow.
This solves. Yeah, so we're looking at moving, and I don't know if I'm sure you've both seen this actually, especially in older cities. I'm sure this is a problem in Boston. There is no place to put a TV. The people 100 years ago were like, you know what should go in the middle of the room? A fireplace. And you're like, you didn't think about global warming. I'm never going to use this fireplace, and now I can't do anything here. So one of the primary things I look at when I look at these photos is like, where would the TV go? And then where would the couch go? The simulcast might solve that problem, because you just put the TV in the middle of the room, couches, along any edge that is available. Doesn't matter where you sit.
Well, you create the Ultra Lounge, right? Because you put the TV in the middle, and then the whole entirety of the outside wall is all couches. You can sit anywhere and see the television. They got wide viewing angles on these TV now, so you can really sit anywhere and still get a pretty good.
You could put it on a motorized base so that it rotates to where the people are.
Well, and then you get into like some head tracking, infrared kind of stuff, and so it tracks like wherever Dan sits, the TV turns and points at him.
Or you can just use the curved screens, but it curves the other way,
outward,
like out, just round.
Well,
perfectly spherical.
They have those where they're like all the tiny LED panels you snap in, and you can make it as big or as small as you want. If I ever get like a man cave, I'm doing a whole wall with those. But Dan, this is your opportunity. You can wrap it all the way around a cylinder.
Oh, and then it spins like one of those old timey things, and that's how you watch the TV.
And then when you're not using it, you can put on like people just think it's a big fish tank or something. You can put little fish swimming on it.
I did see at a friend's house in our 8-week East Coast tour, we did see one of those TVs that looks like a picture frame.
Oh, sure.
And then inside the TV is like a painting on like a 4K. I don't know, maybe it was even... It looked real. I was shocked at how good it looked. I thought... on paper, reading the CES press announcement about that 5 years ago, that it would look super hokey. And it takes a while to notice. And even when you're noticing, you're like, it's fine. Because they actually can get pretty dim, which is nice. It's not like a big shouting out, look at this horse painting.
Right.
Yeah, I was pleasantly surprised.
Horse.
Well, Dan, speaking of CES,
Yes, it's my favorite episode.
Oh, and by the way, I forget that we stream these live, so I do want to thank wonderful, maybe number one friend of the show, Phil Lopez, who once again knocks it out of the park with Clear Toilet. Thank you, Phil. And Clear Vacuum. Clear Vacuum, that's kind of Dyson needs to get on that. They'd be great at the totally clear.
They're basically halfway there, Dyson.
It's pretty clear.
The chamber with the gross shit is already clear.
Right.
Yeah, that's a good. Clear Toilet is definitely an idea. And I'll leave it at that. Guys, we got to talk about CES. It's our favorite time of the year. We've covered a number of these, and I pulled a number of releases from the show, but only the weird, interesting stuff. It's what we love to talk about, from gadgets to appliances to cars to you name it. Happens at the Consumer Electronics Show every year. Guys, there's about, I think, 10 different stories in here. If any of them grab your attention and you want to go out quick, we got urine analysis. We've got scent-infused showers. We got laptops with too many screens, truly wireless TVs. Anything getting you excited? It's a lot to take in.
I like the bathroom theme this year.
Yeah, we can get into that. We got a couple of bathroom items. Let's start with Y Things, who's been around for a while. I think one of the first with like a Wi-Fi-enabled smart scale. They got a whole bunch of stuff. This year, it's the U-Scan, an at-home, hands-free urine lab that you stick in your toilet. Yes, you heard that correctly. It consists of two parts, a reader and a replaceable cartridge. The reader itself is what you pee on, and the cartridge is inside of it. It has a thermal sensor to differentiate between pee and toilet water. All you have to do is pee normally, but onto the device instead of directly into the water. There's nothing you have to do to activate it, and there are enough tests in the cartridges for about one test per day. Once the reader detects you're peeing, it uses a microfluidic circuit to take a small sample. The rest gets dumped, and the thing gets cleaned when you flush. For the cartridges, they're focusing on two things, reproductive health and nutrition. The Cycle Sync cartridge measures luteinizing hormone, pH levels, and hydration levels to help determine what part of the menstrual cycle a person is in, as well as estimating an ovulation window. They're also doing a nutritional balance cartridge, which measures pH and hydration in addition to ketones and vitamin C. Too many ketones in your blood and urine, for example, can trigger ketoacidosis, and vitamin C may help people improve iron absorption. Once the tests are finished, the results are sent via Wi-Fi to the app, and the cartridge rotates to the next test pod. Each cartridge holds about 100 tests and lasts 3 months. The users will also get actionable tips to improve their health based on their results.
Wow.
Gross.
Not the stupidest thing I've ever heard.
No, I'm pleasantly surprised, actually. 100, yeah, and you only have to replace it every couple months?
Yeah, absolutely. So it's essentially you take one test a day, 100 tests in a cartridge. So,
I love data.
Yeah. What is I don't understand what the cartridge is. Like, what is the cartridge, and what is it filled with? What are the units of test? Why are they...
So, like I said, there's 2 different cartridges depending on what test you want to take. But basically, in the cartridge and the thing itself collects a little bit of urine and runs the test within the cartridge in the unit in your toilet.
Huh. Cool.
Was that helpful?
No, I don't understand. I don't understand why it. I mean, it doesn't.
I think it's really like a COVID test, right? Like there's some bit of material that it's reacting with, and then it's measuring that reaction to determine something.
Gotcha.
And that's what's in the cartridge.
That makes sense. So weird.
Yeah, so you just pee on it once a day. It knows you're peeing on it. It'll test you and send you the results to your app.
It's funny. Cool, I guess.
It's pretty wild. I think as more cartridges come out, it could be interesting. I will say, though, and genuinely, I hope you didn't scroll down far enough in the article. What would you pay for the reader and cartridges? For, like, your first set of cartridges. Oh, and by the way, it'll only be available in Europe pending medical approval in the U.S. later on.
So we're estimating in euros?
Yes, although if you want to do it in dollars, I'll give you the translation. But yes, it is listed in euros. The thing you pee on and some test cartridges.
200 euros.
Dan, you got a guess?
I'm going to do 150 euros.
Here's the thing. It's a great idea. It's going to cost you 500 euros.
Whew.
Damn.
Crazy. Absolutely crazy. Which, on one hand, for an everyday type of just like casual, I like tech product, it's crazy. If you're trying to get pregnant or you have a medical condition that requires your urine to get tested, maybe not so crazy. It'll be available in Q2 2023, but of course, all this depends on FDA clearance.
Wild. We live in the future, you know?
We live in a future. One where you get to pee on things in your toilet. But we can continue along in the bathroom concept. Kohler, friend of the show. Every year we talk about something fun from our friends at Kohler. They've kept it simple this year. Aromatherapy shower infusion. Well, what does that mean? It's called Sprig, and it's a gadget capable of attaching to any shower head paired with their Sprig shower pods. It's this little contraption that hooks into your existing shower head and plumbing, and you basically, it's pods, so you gotta buy it from them. But the pods infuse the water stream with a combination of scents like eucalyptus, chamomile, lavender, as well as ingredients that are supposed to be good for the skin, like hyaluronic acid and sodium. Kohler says the pods are safe to use on the entire body and should run for around several minutes. The pods start at $21 for a 6-pack, or for a 6-pack of single-use pods, or $24 for a single multi-use pod with 8 uses. The whole infusion system you need to start will cost $119, be available to purchase during the first quarter this year.
Whoa.
I think that that this thing is pods really kills it for me, because those are pretty expensive, and like steeping tea, I imagine you could get a couple uses out of any given bit of material.
Mm-hmm.
That's annoying. I like the idea, though. I really am willing to spend money on these things, like the bidets you can just add to the toilet, right? You can just have this. You don't need to change your plumbing. You don't need to do this and that. And isn't it a nice thing? I think there's a huge market for stuff like that, but to make it like the coffee pods, sure it helps their bottom line. But I think a lot of people will be turned off by that, where it's like, hey, get the Kohler faucet, because guess what you can do with this faucet that no one else can do? You can install these tablets. Hey, they don't last forever. Eventually you'll probably want to replace it because you'll notice the smell goes away. But single use is pretty lame. Are they single use, or does it just recommend 8 uses?
No, you can buy them either as single-use pods, or you can buy a multi-use pod, which works for 8 uses.
Works. What happens after 8? Does it eject itself?
No,
Explodes.
I think it just... honestly, it's vague in here, because that is a good question. Could I use all of it in a 30-minute long shower?
Yeah, does it have an RFID thing, like the
how does it know to shut off?
pods or
how
something?
do I turn it on and off? No, the article doesn't say. It's a good question. I mean, I think I don't disagree with your point, Dan. I will say the cost of under $3 for a single-use pod, I don't think is... that's not rip-off territory, because I wouldn't use this every day, but this is on a weekend or a stressful day. I pay $2.70 to pop a pod in the shower. It's relaxing. What drives me crazy is the $120 startup cost. You're right, Dan. Aren't they making money on the pods? They should be giving this thing away.
What is
and
that?
ripping us off on the pods.
What does the thing do that it needs to be so expensive?
It looks I'll give them credit. It looks very nice. I'm sure it's made of metal. It's got to have the plumbing fixtures and everything. But if this thing were $49, okay, you might want to take a flyer on that. And they make their money on the pods. $120 is a lot to invest in a system like this.
Yeah.
In my opinion, anyway.
I think you're right. It's crazy.
But you never know. Put it on your wish list for next Christmas if it ever actually comes out. That is the Kohler Sprig Shower Infusion System. What else on here, guys? We're out of bathroom stuff.
Oh. What about the toothbrush?
Oh, let's move. You're right. We do have more bathroom stuff. The Y brush. I've never seen this before. This is wild. Apparently, it's been in Europe for a few years, and now it's available in the U.S., announced at CES. It's called the Y brush, and it's basically, how do I describe this to somebody listening? It's a mouthguard-shaped head. So it's like putting in a mouthguard in your mouth, but the whole inside of it is lined with bristles. And the thing vibrates to clean all of your teeth simultaneously. Rather than moving the brush around your mouth for 2 minutes, you position one side of your mouth inside, turn it on, and gently sort of move around the brush head while rotating it. They say you can spend a maximum of 30 seconds. Now, Y-Brush specifically doesn't promise better cleaning performance so much as claiming you'll do a better job of taking care of your teeth, since most adults spend only about 45 seconds to a minute brushing, not as long as they should. They're not effective. Versus this, it's pretty effective, but they're more likely to use it. It'll cost you $80 for the base model, which doesn't include a timer, or $130 model that does include a timer.
Wow. So does that mean it doesn't work better than if you brush your teeth like you're supposed to? But it does work better if you brush your teeth badly.
You nailed it on the head, yes. If you're a dentist and you have been trained in how to brush your teeth, no, this is not going to do as good of a job. But there are some... And by the way, I love it's this European angle. The average American is so stupid that we invented this. Apparently, it's been around in Europe for... it's not a new product. It's just new to the U.S. market.
I love the name. It's like the obvious Y shape, but also like Y brush.
Why? Why brush?
Why brush when you could Y brush?
Yeah, this thing's wild. If you get a chance, there isn't one in the article, but on the website, on their website, and I think also on the Amazon page, they have videos of people using it. And when you see them using it, you're, okay, I kind of buy it. Like, it looks stupid in a picture, but once it gets in somebody's mouth, you're like, it touches every tooth, and it vibrates like an electric toothbrush. Like, I'm almost tempted to take the Y-brush challenge.
Do you have to get, like, fitted for
They have 3 sizes, large, medium, and small for children.
Small for children.
But they say fit most things. Yeah, here, I can share my screen and put the video on for the people watching. But it's what makes me convinced is it's been around for 4 years. You know what I mean? So it must do something.
Oh my god! Did you see how much the brush costs?
Yeah, it's $89.
No, I'm sorry. Just a replacement, like, head.
Oh no, what does a replacement head cost?
$37.99 for one.
Yeah. But how long does it last?
Yeah, how long does it last?
I mean, I will say, I know my electric toothbrushes replacement heads are not cheap.
But the one I have, it's like 3 months, they say, before you should replace it or something like that.
Yeah, I wonder if they say on here how long it lasts.
We're transitioning from 2022's Don't Panic Home Improvement podcast now to Don't Panic Personal Health and Hygiene podcast.
Oh, no. That's a problem. I'm definitely better at one than the other.
I'm not sure which one it is.
6 months. 6 months, it says, for the Y-brush.
So it's a
So you're buying it and then spending $70 a year in brush heads. I don't know. This thing, it just is like, it's wild.
Oops.
So check it out. Now available in the U.S. The Y-brush. Y-brush.
I like the idea of this thing, because if it could just cut my toothbrushing time in half, but clean as well as I do with an electric toothbrush, which I think is like 30 seconds per quadrant or something it's at, that would be huge, right? That's such an easy sell. Yeah. But if it doesn't do as good a job, then it's not an easy sell. But something like that, like, hey, here's this thing you have to do every day. We're going to 50% of the time you have to spend on this. God, that'd be amazing.
Well, toothbrushes need innovation. I didn't put it in the rundown, but some company at CES, I want to say it was like a Panasonic or somebody like that, they announced a new, they call it like the one handle, where it's got the battery in it and the motor in it, and you can put your toothbrush head on it. But then you can take your toothbrush head off, put your razor head on it for your electric razor. And I was like, I do not want those to be the same thing. I disagree. And like, it had a bunch of different heads you could put on it that could do like grooming stuff. And I'm like, no, those should be separate. My toothbrush should be nowhere near the thing that's covered in hair. Absolutely not. I was offended at the idea.
That is, I do take great pains to make sure my toothbrush is like nowhere in the area when I use my electric shaver, because I don't want those little, Sean, you've experienced firsthand what it's like to get beard trimmings in your.
I have. Don't put them right next to your spices. They look highly similar. Lesson learned. And don't just taste random things. Did you know the story, Dan?
No, did you just have a bottle of beard trimmings?
No, the ultra short version is when we were roommates, and actually this involves Matt, friend of the show, Matt, of course. There in our dorm house, there was a sink directly next to a shelf we put food on, like a bathroom sink, right, directly next to.
There was in Gartland, there was the sink in the bathroom, and then there was a second sink outside the bathroom for parallelization.
And we had a shelf of food, like literally up against the side of the sink.
Right.
And so I was in there like using that sink one day, and I looked over, and of course the food shelving was a mess because we were a bunch of dudes in college. There was all kinds of crap on there. And there was like a thing of pepper and a thing of salt and a thing of whatever. And there was just a bunch of like little stuff on the shelf. And I'm like, it doesn't look like pepper. What is it? So I, as a smart person, licked my finger, took a bunch of it, and I ate it. And I'm like, It doesn't really taste like anything. I wonder what that is. It was Matt's beard shavings. Ended up on the shelf next to the food. And it was upsetting, and I stopped putting my food on that shelf because it was not a good spot for that.
No. There are a lot of problems with that house.
Not one of my prouder moments. All right, guys, what else? Anything else here from the CES, the CES? There's some actual technology, but there's also more goofy stuff, so you guys tell me.
Bike desk? I have been thinking about getting a new desk.
Well, Acer has a new desk you might be interested in working in. It's called the eConnect BD3. I don't know where they come up with this. It's not only a work and exercise desk, it also generates electricity. What? You cycle at a somewhat leisurely pace of 60 revolutions per minute. It can generate up to 75 watts of power. That prevents emissions equivalent to walking rather than driving 0.132 miles in a gas-powered car.
0.132.
Yeah, the iPhone 13... Well, for comparison's sake, so you're doing 75 watts...
Not 1.32.
0.13. No,
0.132. That's like a city block, right? Like that.
It's not much. But, I will say, 75 watts of power... The iPhone 13 Pro Max draws 30 watts from the wall with a fast charger to juice up in under 90 minutes. So not good to compare it to a car, but definitely for your electronics. It has 2 USB Type-A and 1 USB Type-C port to plug in multiple devices. And so you can charge your devices with it. It also comes with a smartphone app for users who can track their cycling performance and how many calories they've burned. It'll cost you $999 when it lands in North America in June.
Can it charge your computer too, or just a phone?
It's got a USB-C port, so I'd have to see what wattage like a MacBook would pull, but possibly.
Now, this betrays my ignorance, but wattage is a measure of what? Is it a measure of throughput or a measure of like... Because you have a kilowatt-hour battery, which measures capacity. And so if you charge your phone 70 watts, is that, is that 0.71 kilowatts?
It's electricity produced.
Electricity produced. 70 watts.
Yeah, 75 watts.
And how much, iPhone's how big is an iPhone battery?
Well, like the article said, 30 watts will power up a 13 Pro Max with a fast charger, fully charged in 90 minutes with 30 watts.
30 watts. But how long do you have to pedal to produce those 30 watts?
60 revolutions per minute for an hour. But that's a leisurely pace, says this article. So, if you're leisurely pedaling for 8 hours a day, you maybe
60
could power
revolutions per minute for an hour. Is that what they said?
Yes.
That's 1 revolution per second.
Yes.
That's like
1 1,000, 2 1,000, 3 1,000, 4 1,000.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
No, listen, I think it's stupid, but I'm trying to give the people at Acer some credit for the interesting idea.
I was surprised to learn, reading about electric cars and how they work, and I was like, and then electric bikes. I was like, hang on a second, why don't electric bikes? We have lots of hills in Seattle. Why don't electric bikes recharge their battery when you go down the hill? And the answer was, I think that it's just not. It's a negligible amount of electricity for that much weight. Mm-hmm. And so, yeah, these things have weird economies of scale. And I'm surprised, I guess pleasantly surprised, that you could charge anything pedaling yourself for an hour. You could charge a whole iPhone. I'm pleasantly surprised.
But to be honest, that's probably the only reason I would ever use this, is your laptop's going to die and you're going to get fired if you don't pedal the bike. I need some incentive, so I'll take what I can get.
Right.
Anywho, Acer's bicycle desk. Anything else in here you guys want to talk about, or should we move on to picks? Because we didn't talk about the dual screen laptop, or the wireless TV, or the stand mixer that It has Alexa built in and measures all your stuff as you put it in.
Now, I do feel like we should talk about the Black & Decker cordless cocktail maker. You might have thought that drill was coming after that, but no.
Yeah, this is insane. So, the fine folks at Black & Decker, who I'm pretty sure we've never talked about on the show before. I feel comfortable in saying that. I don't think they've ever come up. They have their own electric-powered cocktail maker. Now, that in itself isn't... We've talked about the pod-style cocktail makers before on the show many times. Mm-hmm. That's not new. This uses the pods from a company called Bartesian, and it has space for 6 liquor bottles. What's unique about this is, for the first time ever, it's battery-powered on a Black & Decker, like the same battery you put in your weed whacker, will power this cordless cocktail maker, which means cocktails anywhere on the go.
Whoa.
They say you can get up to 250 drinks on a single charge.
Oh my God.
Available this spring for a price of $400.
Why Black & Decker? Did they, explain that at all?
No, I think it's... I'm pretty sure they're just private labeling it. Like I doubt they make the maker. Somebody else does, and they just put the Black & Decker name on it.
Did they repurpose one of their wireless drills? Because it does say battery here, doesn't it? Doesn't it say battery powered?
It is. Well, I actually know a little bit about the tool market, but basically all of these companies, the whole gimmick with batteries now for tools and stuff is like you buy into the family. Like you get the Ryobi batteries and you got to buy all the Ryobi stuff. And same with all the different brands, DeWalt and all that. All of them are making stupid shit you can put their batteries in at somewhat as gimmicks. Makita makes a coffee machine that runs on the same batteries as the weed whacker. And they're just trying to add as much stuff as possible to say, we have 300 things our batteries work with. I don't think they'll sell many of these, but it is one they can put on the list and say, look, buy into our ecosystem of batteries because you can do everything, including cocktail making at the tailgate party.
Cool.
Truly wild. But I did go on the Bartesian website, and man, I can't justify it, but man, they make the pod cocktails look so good. Because I'm so lazy. But you got to buy the machine, and then you got to buy the pods, and we already talked about our disdain for pods, so, yeah. Not happening. I can just hire Colby for a fraction of the price.
Can you imagine how the lifetime of these things with, like, sugar pouring out of that little nozzle, too? Like, even with the coffee makers, you eventually have to clean it out because of calcium buildup. But sugar? I don't know. I don't like that.
And also, just how many cocktails do you make? Like, even if you made one a day, you're paying, I think it's something like $400 for the machine. And then the pods I looked up, and they were
$20 for 8?
Well, it varies by what drink you buy. I think the ones I saw, they were like $3 to $4 a pod, which I also don't think is crazy for the ingredients plus the alcohol. But it's like, man, how long do you have to own that for it to be like justified cost?
Yeah,
I can't imagine, especially when a shaker is much cheaper. All right, guys. Well, why don't we pivot over to picks, the part of the show where each of us brings something we want to share with the world. And talk about, and I think I got to have, we got cocktails on one side, we got coffee on the other. Colby, what are you picking this week?
I don't remember if we talked about this on the show, but Laura and I got Cyber Monday'd into buying a countertop espresso machine, which has been pretty great. It's very small, which is awesome. It doesn't have like a grinder built in or anything, but it does have a steam wand. So it has like the espresso thing and a steam wand. So you can like froth your milk and also make espresso. And it's been like pretty good so far. There was some learning curve, but Laura worked at a coffee shop when she was in college. So we had a little bit of a head start on figuring out what the heck to do. I was just pleased with how small it is. Like we were able to find a corner of our minimal counter space to shove it in. And we did the math, and like we only have to make like 50 lattes for it to work out. And like the lattes we're making are at least as good as the crappy coffee shop across the street, and those cost like $9. So,
well, you got to see if you can sell them to the neighbors.
Right, free coffee, discount coffee.
That's right. We're cheaper, and we deliver to your door because you're across the hall.
Oh, yeah.
This is great. Is this the first like real espresso machine you've owned?
It's the first one I've owned, yes, for sure.
Very cool. No, that's great. It looks great, and I'm sure it looks very beautiful next to your Breville Smart Oven.
Oh, totally. Totally. Just across the counter, just across the kitchen.
Getting the collection together. Very cool. Yeah. Next, you got to they have this smart coffee bean grinder. Did you see this thing from Breville?
No.
It looks like the goddamn space shuttle. It's got a little... I think you can put in the exact measurements of what you want, the grind time, how many shots worth, and it looks dope, and it matches. So, see, that's the problem I have is when I buy something, I got to look at all the things that match it.
Right.
But I also don't know if I could justify a $200 coffee grinder. So, but that's not up for me to decide. Very good, Colby. The Breville Bambino Plus. Check it out. Dan, let's work our way up the list. What are you playing?
Yeah, one of the games I played on the Steam Deck while I was flying on this plane is a game called Arcanium. And it's kind of like, I think in the past I picked Slay the Spire, which is kind of like single-player Hearthstone. So Arcanium, I think, is a cross between Slay the Spire and a board game. So you move around the board, and then things happen when you move to different squares. And when you have battles, those are actually card games, and you collect cards as you play the game and upgrade your deck. And then eventually you probably lose, and then certain power-ups carry over. It's one of those games, and then you do it all over again the next time. So it's pretty fun. There's lots of strategy to it. You can save at any point. You can save in the middle of the battle, which is nice. So you can just play for 5 minutes. I think it's only on Steam. I actually didn't check that. But if you have a Steam Deck, it works great on there. Oh, it's on Netflix. Do you see that? Is this a Netflix game?
It's a Netflix. I was about to say, I think it's the first ever Netflix game we've picked on the show.
Interesting. But I click on Netflix, it just brings me to Steam. Huh.
Curious.
I don't know. Well, it says platforms, PC, Steam, and Netflix.
I wonder if yes, is it free to play, or is there a cost to this thing?
I'm pretty sure I paid for it.
$25. Yeah, I wonder if it's free with a Netflix subscription. Because the way I looked up once, like how to get a Netflix game, and I believe you get it through Steam, but you have to like authorize it through the Netflix account on your device. There's a way to do it.
Oh no! Here, look, check this out. I'll add this to the spreadsheet. If you are a Netflix member, you can download this app on the App Store, but only if you're a Netflix member. If not, there's no amount of money you can pay to play this game on your iPhone.
Nice.
That's crazy.
Exclusively for Netflix members. All right.
Wow.
Check that out.
Yeah, there you go.
Arcanium. Very cool.
Good thing I don't subscribe to Netflix anymore, so now I don't feel like a sucker.
Hey, listen, maybe with such great games, they'll get you back as a subscriber. You never know. All right. Very nice pick, Dan. Thank you. I will round us out here. I have learned that cats like running, moving water. They don't like, I guess it's an instinctual thing. They find danger in sitting water. So they like moving fountains. So this is now my third fountain I've bought since I've had my cat, which isn't great because I've only had him for like 4 years. They don't last long. But the motor on his old one crapped out. And so I had to get a new one. And I purchased this from Petley Bro. It's the DocStream wireless pump water fountain. Now, I've had enough of these to know, like, good things and bad things, like, are they easy to clean, and are they going to last, and does it hold a lot of water, and how expensive are the filters, and all those sorts of things. And I'm very excited for this one. I've gotten it. He's had it for a little while. Upside, deadly silent, which is wonderful. It's the quietest one I've ever owned. You don't hear it at all, which is great. Holds a crap ton of water, which is awesome, so you're not filling it. And the cleaning of it. I've had some of these that are a nightmare to take into a million pieces. You got to scrub them because stuff grows where water sits. And this one is pretty darn easy to clean as well. So Pet Libro DocStream wireless pump water fountain. It's $40, so it's not real crazy for a water fountain for your pet. Check it out. Keep them hydrated. Very nice. All right, gentlemen. Well, we did it. It was nice to have the crew back together again.
Yeah. Maybe we'll see each other again in 2024.
Wouldn't that be nice? No, well, we definitely have some fun stuff coming up. I'll very quickly tease over it Up for Debate. We just published the second half of our live commentary of the failed musical Spider-Man Turn Off the Dark. Watch it on YouTube. We talk over the footage from the musical, and it is wild. It's the best couple hours you'll spend watching the two acts. And I can tease I'm a week behind in publishing. So actually, we've already recorded our next one. It's not published yet. Guys, we're doing another storytelling creative challenge. One of my favorite episode types we do, where we start with a premise and we build the story that goes on. And I can tell you this one takes place a couple of kids. It's basically a Goosebumps story, but it takes place a couple of kids at Wild Willie's Entertainment, Wonderporium, and Family Fun Center, Zoo Safari, and Amusement Center, World Thrill Park Amusement Center. So they're at a theme park, and as usual, Matt and I go off the rails pretty quick. So it's going to be a fun one. Lot to check out there. Subscribe wherever you get podcasts. Up for Debate. This show, of course, don'tpanic.io is the website. Go there, get all the links to the picks we talked about will be there in case you want to buy an espresso machine or a pet water fountain. And, of course, subscribe wherever you get podcasts. You can get a hold of us, don'tpanicshow@gmail.com, or tweet at us @don'tpanicshow. And we're going to be back next time with some combination of hosts and some combinations of tech news. And it's going to be a good time. But on behalf of Colby and Dan, I'm Sean. We appreciate you being here. We'll see you next time for another great episode of Don't Panic.